Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Dana. I'm a mama to 4, and as you can tell from the title down below, I'm going to be taking you along with us for our homeschool morning. I'm actually going to be doing 2 days back to back of filming kind of what our homeschool morning looks like. Today is going to be primarily focused on my first grader, his curriculum, and so as you can tell, it's kind of going to be a first grade heavy as far as concentrating on him for today. So I thought that would be fun to kind of show you what our curriculum is, kind of do a lesson with us, so to speak, and things like that. His main core curriculum is Christian Light Education. I love it. I love it for him. It is very just simple, open and go, and we just love it. And he loves it too, which also speaks volumes. And then on my next video, I will be taking you along with me, but we'll be doing more kindergarten heavy. So I'll be taking you along with us as we do kind of good and beautiful lessons and things like that. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into today's video.
Oh, there is nothing like your love. There is nothing and no one above.
So I initially wanted to leave in all the natural sounds and everything like that, and even kind of walk you through the day in the actual video. However, the microphone was not working, so we are going to be doing it this way. But before I actually call the kiddos for school, we typically just like opening up the workbooks to where they left off. That way it's a really smooth and easy transition to where I know where they are going to be, they know where they're going to be, and yeah, it just makes it for a very smooth transition. Typically, when we actually are ready to sit down and do the workbooks, we always start with handwriting. It's just something simple and will really get us off to a good start. So I always do a read aloud, typically while they're either doing a puzzle for that 10 to 20 minutes before school. And as you'll notice today, my reading aloud kind of took me all over the room. The baby was a little bit fussy, so I do a lot of reading aloud and bouncing the baby at the same time.
There is nothing and no one above. Oh, come be with us, Holy One. Oh, come be with us.
When it comes to homeschooling with a toddler, I will say one of the things that I have found that really helps us is to just have one-on-one play and one-on-one time spent with her before we even start our actual school day. It really helps having her be happy and content, knowing that mommy sees her and loves her, and her cup is just, yeah, it's very, very full by the time we actually start. And then I mentioned before, typically I love setting a stand timer, and today the kiddos were actually just doing these really, really simple, almost toddler puzzles, and they were kind of having a race to see who could get the most done before we sat down and started our school for today.
Like your love, there is nothing and no one above. Oh, come be with us, Holy One. Oh, come be with us, Holy One. Oh, come be with us, Holy One.
So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this will be heavily concentrating on what we do with my first grader and his curriculum. This is his little Bible curriculum. It's called From Genesis to Job. It's just really simple and sweet, and we do love it. I also wanted to add in throughout the video here just kind of the real life aspects of just the interruptions, the diaper changes, as you'll see here, that need to happen, the messes that need cleaned up and spills that need mopped up and things like that. So it does not at all look like a video as far as the seamless, non-interrupted type of mornings.
Gratefully and humbly, I give you everything.
So this is my kindergartner's curriculum from The Good and the Beautiful. We will get into this in much more detail on Thursday's video, but I did want to show you a little bit of her doing her work as well. And as I mentioned before, I wanted to include all the diaper changes and outfit changes that take place during the day, especially with a 2-year-old. At this point in the day, we are finishing up our first grade Bible lesson of the day. He was trying to find the missing words and then filling in the blank by finishing kind of like the prayers and the sayings and the Bible verses and then matching them to the correct picture. But this curriculum is just really, really sweet. It really focuses on that, really just character building and just Christ honoring kind of activity. So I love that. So my toddler actually loves bugs, believe it or not. She actually brings this out to me on a regular basis when I'm working with either my kindergartner and first grader. And so this is just a fun activity that she likes to flip through and likes to learn all the different bug names.
And all that
So after we finished our Bible lesson, typically my little guy likes doing math as far as if he has to choose between math and reading or language arts first. And this is the Christian Light Education. As mentioned in the beginning of the video, every single one of his subjects is from the same curriculum. So this is all CLE. And in the first part here, he just had to color in half of the right side of each shape. So that's what he's doing now. And I've mentioned many times before, but this curriculum is great, especially if you want something that is just open and go. There's no prep work involved for the teacher. So if you are a busy mama who does want open and go and really finds a value in not having to do that prep work, then this is fantastic. And it's not just great for the teacher as far as no prep work, but I have known that in just the 5 light units that he has done so far, his skills that he has learned so far has been amazing. I love this curriculum. I honestly can't talk highly enough about it for his learning style specifically. I just love it. Yeah, that's all I can say about it.
is thank you.
So typically when he gets to the point in his math book where it's just addition and subtraction and things like that, I do like to do some more reading aloud. And this particular day in this particular book and story, he was really getting into, as you can tell. So the math wasn't really happening, but that's totally fine. He had a great time listening to this story, and yeah, it was just really, really sweet. So this is the Learning to Read curriculum from CLE that we are again absolutely loving. I love how thorough this curriculum is, while also just being very gentle with the activities, with how they add in new words, whether that be sight words or blends, different endings as we're working on today. So once we got to this point in our curriculum, we also started doing our first grade language arts from CLE. The way this program works is you do the first 5 light units of the Learning to Read. Once you get to that point, you add in the language arts, which you'll see here in just a little bit. But both of them are equally amazing, but they both do serve different purposes, as you'll see later. But the Learning to Read really is strictly just the actual learning to read. Yeah. Spelling the words, putting the sounds together, sight words, and things like that. But we love it, and he does too.
I'm gonna let the sun shine in today.
So typically when we get to this part of our actual reading lesson, this is when I will jump back over to him after helping my kindergartner, and we'll go over our sight words, we'll go over our little time section at the top right. We'll set a little clock and see how many he can get in that time, and then we'll go over our other blends and our other letters, words, before we move on to like the spatial reasoning activities. But overall, he just really loved it.
Sound of people talking, the wind blowing in the trees. Oh, I will open up my eyes so I can see the light.
So I had to share this because this is typically what 100% of our days look like when it comes to me actually teaching my little people. It's typically teaching 2, sometimes 3, as you'll see here, at the same time. It's a very, very busy morning, but the actual beauty that comes in these moments is really just uncomparable to anything I've really ever experienced. Just being there, watching them grow, watching them for those aha moments, if you know what I mean. It's just really, really beautiful.
And take this weight off my shoulders, 'cause I know yesterday ain't coming back. I'm gonna let the
So woven throughout the curriculum are these sweet stories, and I love them because a lot of the times they have to do with helping, showing kindness, and just really, really sweet and character building stories. For today's lesson, this was actually his first introduction to kind of like that singular and plural type idea, and so he did really, really well, and he actually really liked that activity, and that was the last thing we did in learning to read. For language arts, this is another one of his favorites that he actually thoroughly enjoys, and this is what I mean that both of them serve a purpose. So in language arts, on this lesson in particular, we were focusing on circling the uppercase words and then adding periods on the end of each sentence. So it really focuses on the actual structure of the sentence, punctuation, and things like that. Whereas in the beginning to read course that we just finished, doesn't necessarily focus on the structure of the sentence and the punctuation and things like that, but focuses more on obviously the blends. So as I mentioned before, two very, very different ideas, but they all go together very, very beautifully. You are done! You are done for the day. How does it feel to be done with school? Good. It's always the best feeling. Well, you did fantastic. I'm so proud of you. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me for our homeschool morning. I hope you enjoyed getting a look at kind of what that looks like for us. I love these types of videos only because I love seeing kind of like the real life day-to-day routines that other families have. But I also like keeping them for myself because it's honestly just a really fun scrapbook of memories to keep that I love looking at and will love looking at for the years to come. But again, thank you for being here. I really appreciate every single one of you for watching. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I will have that video up probably this week as far as kind of what our kindergarten looks like, as far as being more kindergarten heavy, if that makes sense. But yeah, until then, I hope you guys have a great day, whatever you're doing, and God bless. Bye.
Oh, I will open up my eyes so I can see the light. Oh, and I'll try to spread